Good day, Coach Jude Martinez, and to my classmates. Today, we are presenting factors affecting adolescents' development. I am Nicole Jane Eldekel, and my role in this video presentation is to give an introduction and to discuss intellectual development under factors affecting adolescents' development. We are also going to give our insight at the end of our presentation. And we are the Bsed Math 1L, the Assassination Study Hub 1, and I am the Study Hub 1 group leader. And here's my member.
Good day, Coach Jude. I am Emeline Rivera from Bsed Math 1L, and I'm going to discuss to you one of the factors affecting adolescent development. My assigned topic for this day is about physical development, female and male. It begins with the rapid physical changes, dramatic gaining of weight and height, and the development of sexual characteristics. The characteristic of male is enlarged of tested to 11 years old to 12 years old, changing boys 12 to 14 years old. Pubic hair, body hair 19 to 20 years old. Increased musculature, develop acne 17 years old. Develop height and weight, muscle mass 19 to 21 years old. The characteristic of female, breast budding and menstruation 12 to 13 years old. Reduced body fats 17 years old. Pubic hair 16 years old. Develop acne 17 years old. Hips development, slow physical growth. Develop body figure 19 to 21 years old.
Cognitive or intellectual development means the growth of a child's ability to think and reason. It's about how they organize their minds, ideas, and thoughts to make sense of the world they live in. The first one is growing capacity for abstract thought, 11 to 12 years old. Adolescence marks the beginning development of more complex thinking process, also called formal logical operations. This time can include abstract thinking, the ability to form their own new ideas or questions. It can also include the ability to consider many points of view and compare or debate ideas or opinions. The second one is deeper moral training. We all make moral judgment on a daily basis. As adolescents' cognitive, emotional, and social development continue to mature, their understanding of morality expands and their behavior becomes more closely aligned with their values and beliefs. The third one is may enjoy debating and arguing. Children and adolescents can show signs of disrupted early brain development, sleep disturbance, anxiety, depression, conduct disorder, and other serious problems as a result of living with severe or chronic interparental conflict. Next one is has strong self-awareness. Self-awareness even helps when teens make mistakes. Teens with strong self-awareness skills learn to check for mistakes, recognize them, and then edit and learn from those mistakes. Teens with strong self-awareness skills are able to use those skills to succeed on a personal level as well as to help others. Next is, may be judgmental of adults or peers if they do not know what is fair. Peer relationships are very influential in adolescence. During this time, when young people are developing autonomy from their parents, peers becomes a significant source of social and emotional support. The attitude of adolescent friends can have both a positive and negative influence. The next is 3 common eating disorder: obesity, anorexia nervosa, and bulimia. Obesity is a condition of being fat or overweight. The anorexia nervosa compasses behaviors like dieting, fasting, overexercising, taking diet pills, laxatives, and vomiting. Bulimia affects those who have recurrent and frequent episodes of eating, usually large amounts of food followed by purging or throwing up, fasting, and excessive exercise. The last one is vigorexia, also known as muscle dysmorphia. It's a health condition that can cause you to think constantly about building muscles on your body. Vigorexia shares some of the same symptoms as other disorders like anorexia nervosa and is a type of body dysmorphic disorder. In intellectual development, we start developing our thinking skills. We also have this self-awareness. In this development, we learn how to think and to give reasons. We give some ideas and thoughts to make sense of the world. And aside from thinking, reasoning, thoughts, ideas, self-awareness, we also have this development wherein we want to develop something in our body. In this development, as an adolescent, you want to develop something mentally and physically.
So next we go on to language of development. We not like to communicate to adults. As we all know, if we are someone who is younger than our siblings or younger than anyone else, we must practice to communicate with people who are older than us because it is true with them we can learn most of our life lessons. Enjoy talking with friends. Bottom line, good relationship rooted out if we will engage ourselves to someone dialogue with our friends. It is one way to boost our self-esteem and help us to be open with other people. Next, often argue rather than discuss. If we will not push ourselves to discuss someone's misunderstanding with other people, conflict may arise. Arguing is pointless if you cannot end up to something that is worth discussing. Third is usually does not like grammar. English grammar is present everywhere, especially in writing and talking. We cannot deviate ourselves and dislike it because it is important in improving our vocabulary. We cannot run away from grammar forever. Grammar is present if you will take a civil service examinations. May complain that the other do not understand. Listening is the beginning of understanding. If we will not pay attention to those people and if we will continue to complain about some stupid stuff, for sure we are not helping them to learn, but rather we are pulling them down and we are taking their rights of learning. Complaint is not necessary but helping them figure out things are. So the last, we have communication are often about social matter. As early as today, we should be into some social matter concerning our community or country as a whole. We are in the 21st century and we should be held accountable to any social matter there is. As a youth, we can be the voice of reliable and factual social matters. We need to include ourselves because as far as I know, we are responsible because we are humans. Thank you for listening and I hope you have learned something today. You have learned something from me. Thank you.
Now, let's talk about the emotional development affecting adulthood development. Emotional development refers to the adolescent that tends to experience more extreme emotion, both positive and negative emotion. So, with adolescence comes additional struggle for autonomy and increased time spent with peers and less time spent with the family. So adolescents become less emotional dependent on their parents, but the emotional autonomy emerges after a period of conflict and increased experience of negative emotion. So this emotional development also has the different factors. So let's start it with the number one, adjusting to a new body, which during puberty the body is adjusting to these fluctuating hormones levels, and this fluctuation thus create mood swings. So adolescents' moodiness can be affected by lack of sleep. The second is the adapting to emerged sexuality. The third is the sexual interest in peers. The fourth one is the early vocational plans. The fifth is the emerging social autonomy. The sixth is the establishment of vocational capability. The seventh is the bullying. The eighth is the further separation from parents. And the ninth is the establishment of emotional separation from parents during adolescence entails carting of childish dependence and idealized representation of parents. So the 10th is the establishment of a person's sense of identity. Your sense of self refers to your perception of the collection of characteristics that defines you. So the 11th is the increased impulse control, where children will learn to control their anger or frustration and we use words to express their feelings. So they get along better with others. Lack of impulse control and inability to manage anger are often the cause of behavior problem in children and contribute to problem with friendship during the school year. So the last one is the interest in forming romantic relationship, where young people faces the challenges of developing a capacity for emotional intimacy.
Thus, adolescent development is characterized by biological, cognitive, and social changes. Social changes are particularly notable as adolescents become more autonomous from their parents, spend more time with the peers, and begin exploring romantic relationship, and sexuality. Strong peer effect. Peer relationships are very influential in adolescence. During this time when young people are developing autonomy from their parents, peers became a significant source of social and emotional support. The attitude of adolescents' friends can have both positive and negative influence. Increasing health risk behavior. Adolescents engage in more risky behavior than adults. Although the magnitude of age difference in risk-taking varies, as a general rule, adolescent and young adults are more likely than adults to bang, drink, smoke cigarette, and have sex partner, engage in violent and other criminal behavior, and have fatal or a serious accident. Sexual interest in peers. During adolescence, peers group involves from primarily single sex to mixed sex. Adolescents within a peer group tend to be similar to one another in a behavior and attitudes, which has been explained as being functions of early vacational plans. Your child may go through a stage where they seem to act without thinking a lot of the time. Your child's decision-making skills are still developing, and they're still learning that actions have consequences, and even risking sometimes. Increasing pulse control. Children who learn to control their anger or frustration and who use words to express their feelings get along better with others. Lack of impulse control and inability to manage anger are often the cause of behavior problems in children and contributes to problems with friendship during the school year. Emerging social autonomy. Autonomy refers to an adolescent's growing ability to think, to feel, and make decisions, and act on her or his own. The development of autonomy does not end after the 10 years. Throughout adulthood, autonomy continues to develop whenever someone is challenged to act with a new level of self-reliance. Stabling bullying. Bullying is generally defined as a form of unwanted, aggressive behavior among school-age children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance, and that is repeated or has a potential to be repeated over time. There are three broad forms of bullying, including physical, verbal, social bullying. Reality refers to a way people choose to live their lives according to a set of guidelines or a principle that govern their decisions about right versus wrong and good versus evil. want to be a nice person. Children want the approval of others and act in ways to avoid disapproval. Emphasize in place of good behavior and people being nice to others, as well to themselves. Personal choice. As youth cognitive, emotional, social development continue to mature and their understanding of morality expands and their behavior became more closely aligned with their values and beliefs. Therefore, moral development describes the evaluations of their guiding principle and is demonstrated by the ability to apply these guidelines in daily life. Physical. From adolescence and beyond, adolescents begin to apply abstract reasoning to justify behaviors. Moral behavior is based on self-chosen ethical principles that are generally comprehensive and universal, such as justice, dignity, equality, which is post-conventional motivation. Psychological. Adolescent moral development gets put to the test in real-life situations, often along with peer pressure to behave or not behave in a particular ways. As adolescents became increasingly independent, they also developed more nuanced thinking about morality or what is right or wrong. Culturally, culture has a strong influence on development, behavior, values, and belief. Family rituals and good communications have a positive effect on teens. Parental pressure that focuses on social and academic achievements can cause adolescents to suffer from a higher rate of depression and anxiety. Masculine perspective versus feminine perspective. Masculinity is seen to be traits which emphasize acquisitions and wealth and differentiated general. Feminine seems to be traits stress, caring and nurturing behaviors, sexual equality, environment awareness, and more fluid gender reveal or general.